It is 6:39. I'm Dana Roselli. Joe Gillespie is off. April 15th is right around the corner. Have you completed your taxes yet? Well, if not, we've got some important information for you. On the KXNT Land Rover Las Vegas hotline this morning, we have Al Wagner, the founder and president of Trinity Tax. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, good. Well, luckily, I just finished my taxes last week, but boy, it was tough this year. I don't know why, but it just seems tougher and tougher every year. We have so many more things to deduct and all that kind of thing. So what are some important things we need to know leading up to the deadline?
Well, the important thing is that you file, even if you file an extension.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting because about 6 months ago, the IRS did a study, and they said that if you owe money, people are more likely to fudge on their numbers. So that increases your chance of an audit.
Yeah. And I always wonder, because, I do the TurboTax when it says, like, oh, your chances of being audited are slim. I mean, is that legit?
Well, it's kind of close. I mean, what they're doing more and more these days is they're auditing the preparers to make sure the preparers are reporting this correctly. They get more bang for their buck. I mean, they can only audit about 1% of the population. That's all the money they have to do. But if they audit the preparers, now they can hit 600 returns all at one time for the same amount of money.
Right. So you're saying folks that owe, they see that they owe, and then they kind of alter things around to try and get that number down, and so they're more likely?
Exactly. So let's say, they owe, like, say, $6,000, for example, and they'll say, well, maybe I did have more business meals than I thought, or maybe I did have more professional fees, or maybe I drove a lot more on my business miles, And the IRS knows that. So that increases your chance of an audit.
Right.
And the other thing that they take a look at as well is the ratios. So let's say you sell Avon or something, and your typical markup is 50%. Well, when they look at your tax return, if those ratios don't match, then that's going to trigger an audit letter.
Yeah. Interesting. And obviously here in a town where we do have casinos, reporting those gambling winnings are important, right?
It's critical that you report that, even if it's not on a W-2G. Because that money is going through your bank account. It's income and it's an expense on both sides.
Right. Yeah. What about with the Bitcoins and the digital currency now? I mean, there are some people that kind of got into that. I mean, how does that work?
Well, Bitcoins it's really currency, but the IRS just ruled that anytime you buy something using Bitcoin, it's really treated similar to a barter system, So everyone has to really keep track of what their cost is for that Bitcoin, and then when they buy something, it's it's either going to be a gain or a loss, which is a nightmare to keep track of that. Yeah.
And anything else new this year that we need to know that might not be like, oh, what is this?
Well, the medical deduction, went up. The first 10% of your income doesn't count now if you're born after January 2nd, 1949. And then, a lot of times people forget to depreciate their house if they're renting a property out, and that's, that's a $4,000 deduction per 100,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they're just leaving money on the table if they don't depreciate the rental property or even business property. They'll just forget to put the depreciation down.
That's interesting. A lot of people rent properties here, too.
Yeah, and I see that a lot. They've been renting the property out for 4 or 5 years, and there's no depreciation taken.
Yeah. Interesting.
So they're just leaving money on the table, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. Hey, thanks so much, Al, for joining us.
All right, thanks, Dana.
All right, take care. That's Al Wagner, the founder and president of Trinity Tax, with some important information for us today. Just a reminder, April 15th is the deadline, and it's coming quick. KXNT News Time is